Now we're going to talk about the multiplication and addition rule, and they are very easy and highly recommended. If you don't remember them, go and study them from the Campbell biology, and we're going to just solve few exercises. Things that I want that you remember about the multiplication rule is that they are independent events in a sequence, and sometimes the question will have the word and. So let's start trying with this question. What are the odds of flipping a coin 5 times and getting tails on every flip? So remember, they're asking you, these are independent events. Yeah, every time that you flip the coin, you will have the option of getting heads and tails every time, 50% of chances, and you do it 5 times, and they're asking you what is the chance that you get 5 times a tail. So first thing that you need to remember, you remember that I told you about the word and that sometimes appear. Here you see the word and, so this can show us that is a multiplication event. And in this case, as I said before, you need to remember they're head of tails. So you have 50% of chance of getting a head or 50% of getting a tail. And then, so for half and half options, so you have to multiply 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 times, because there are, you flip the coin 5 times. So when you multiply this 5 times, you get this value, and sometimes they show it like this, sometimes you can show it like this. So very easy. Let's try another example. Okay, now let's go again. Now with this question, rolling 1 on a 2 pair dice. So here we don't have the word and, but it's still a multiplication because you are rolling the dice and you roll it not, you roll it twice. So remember, when you roll a dice, you have different options, and you have 1/6 of chances every time that you roll a dice. So in this case, as you roll, so you roll it once, and it will be 1/6. So they're asking you for this particular option, and here you do it twice, so you have 1/6, 1/36. Now they're asking you this also easy question. Now you have to roll 12 with a pair of dice. So you have to get 1 and 2, 6, 1 and 2. So you have again 1/6 of an option every time that you roll a dice. So the first time that you roll the dice, you get this, and the second time you get this. So when you multiply this, the answer will be 1/36. Okay, now let's try to solve this question. Rolling 18 with 3 dice, and this is again very easy. So instead of 2, you will have 3, but still you have 1/6. So you have to multiply 1/6 3 times, and this will be the answer. Now, another type of exercise. Now they said picking 3 out of a deck. So you need to get 3 and return it into the deck. And so this already, you know that this is a multiplication. And then picking out a king out of the deck. So it looks complicated, but it's actually pretty easy. The first thing that you have to do, so similar to the coins, in the coins you determine that you have 50-50 chances to get head and tail. In the dice you have 1/6 to get one of the numbers. Here you have to also calculate what is the chances of getting a 3 and getting a king. That will be the first step. So here you have to multiply 13 multiplied by 4, and this give you 52. So you have 52 chances of getting a single card there. In the case of the trees and the deck, they don't say to you specifically what type of tree or what type of king. So this is the next step. So you have 1, 2, and 4 options to get a 3. And then, so you have 4 divided into 52 or 1 over 13. And then you have 4 options of get 4 over 52, again 113. And then, so you just multiply this two probabilities and you have 1 over 169. So again, very easy. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Again, why are we studying this? Why this is related to genetics? Because the formation of the gametes is very similar to the process of toasting, of flipping a coin. So here in the Campbell biology, they give you this beautiful explanation that the formation of gametes of eggs and sperm is very similar to toss a coin. So for example, here when they ask you, if I ask you the probability of 2 coins to be tossed at the same time and that they will land in with a head up, so you do it, you have 50-50 chances, or you do it twice as we did it before, and you get 0.25. And this is the same process of, if I ask you what happened when you have, here you have 2 heterozygous, here you can see the 2 heterozygous, in this case is R, here the example is P, but it's the same thing. And I ask you, what about if you get from these 2 heterozygous to get a recessive, homozygous recessive? So what is the chances? You can go here and you can count 1, 2, 3, and 4, so 1 out of 4, or you can just multiply half and half and you get 1/4. And in this case, it's very easy to count, but when you start increasing the number of genes, the multiplication rule will save you a lot of time. And we will do some exercises like that. So to summarize, as I said before, the multiplication rule, and later I will show that also the addition rule can be applied to calculate probabilities in monohybrid crosses. How? You just have to multiply 2 independent events, the probability, and this can be used to calculate the probability of monohybrid crosses. And for example, the segregation in a heterozygous plant is like flipping a coin. So the Mendel example can be calculated like this. Each gamete, so as I said, have half of the chances of being dominant and half of the chances of carrying the recessive allele. So now let's do a more complicated exercise. Okay, now let's try to solve this exercise. It's not too complicated, but slowly we'll start increasing in complexity. In a cross between a pea plant that are heterozygous for purple flower, what is the probability that the offspring will be homozygous recessive? So you can do it by yourself and you can stop the video, but so they're asking you have 2 heterozygous, so you again you segregate the alleles and they form, and of course you get this, so it will be 1/4. So very easy. Again, as this is relatively easy cross, it's very easy to count. You can also do it just multiplying half and half, and you get 1 out of 4, so you get the same result. Okay, and in the previous exercise, again, it was easy, but now let's see how you do it if you have this exercise. In a cross that is this genotype and this genotype, I cannot even read it. So to making this cross, it will take you so long. What is the probability of getting an offspring that is heterozygous for A, heterozygous for B, and homozygous for dominant for a dominant C? So as you can see, this is possible, and you can start counting. Yeah, even just if I give you the Punnett square, you can count, but this will take you a long time. However, if you do it in a different way, then with the multiplication rule is much easier. And again, it's very easy if you do it with the multiplication rule. So what you have to do is first take each one of the genes. So in this case, let's start with the A. So you have in both cases heterozygous, and they are asking you if you have these parentals that are heterozygous, what are the chances that you get another heterozygous? And look, I did the cross. So this will look like this. And so the chances are 50%. Very easy. So the first gene is done. It's just 50%. Now let's go for the B. So in the B, you do what are the chances of having these parentals and to get this heterozygous in the gene B. So it will be 50%. And some of you have done so many of these exercises, or maybe in the future for the test you will do it just by using your memory, but you can also make the Punnett square. So here you have this one, and here you have this one. This one has the homozygous dominant, and here you have the heterozygous. And the option of getting a heterozygous is 50%. So far we have calculated two of them, and it's very easy. Now I want you to try to calculate the third one. It's very easy, and you can pause the video, and I will explain it in a second. So with C, again, very easy. So you have C and C. So you take these two genes, and now what are the chances of getting a capital C? So a dominant, a homozygous dominant, so it's half. And how do you know that? If you have any doubt, you again, this is for this one, this is for this one, heterozygous here, and homozygous dominant here. So you get 50-50% chances. 50 of this one and 50 of this one. So super easy. And now the next step is multiply all the different sequence of events. So now we have to multiply all the different events. So the probability of having this sequence for the genes A, for the gene B, and for the gene C. And our probability will be 1 out of 8. So this was much easier to count it all the other options. And in this way, you can use the multiplication rule. For the test, I might ask you one of these questions. It will not be impossible, but I will ask you to practice some of these exercises.